We are going to talk about the words and meanings and explanation of chapter 18 of the novel Goodbye Mr. Chips. This is also the last chapter of the novel. Stooping over is bending over. Ruffian is a violent person. Murmured is whispered. Inclined is motivated. Suggested is proposed. Bothered is worried. Wakefulness is sleeplessness. Scraps of tunes, pieces of melodies, and abhorred is hated. Inefficient is wasteful. Struggled is fought. Consequence is the result. Palpitating is trembling. Quivering is shaking. Merriment is happiness. Harmony is coordination, and comfortably is supportively. The important themes which are talked about in this chapter, that Chips, just before he dies, he is in an unconscious state. What are the feelings of Chips in this unconscious state, and what are the other people saying? And how is Mr. Cartwright and Merivale talking? He can hear that. And then the death scene of Mr. Chips. We are looking at the summary of the chapter 18 of the novel Goodbye Mr. Chips. Cartwright was the new headmaster of Brookfield. He joined Brookfield in 1919. It was Cartwright who announced the news of Chips and his death in the school. Chips thought of Cartwright as a new headmaster even though he was at the school since 1919. Cartwright whispered to Merivale that poor old chap must be very lonely. He also said that it was a pity that Chips never had any children. At that remark, Chips opened his eyes and said that he had thousands of children and they were all boys. He said that all his students were his children. Cartwright commented that Brookfield would never forget his love. Linford, he will also remember that he said goodbye to Mr. Chips the night before he died. His death scene is very touching and emotional. Chips, he seemed to hear a grand and sweet chorus of the names of his boys. Then he went to sleep, and he looked so peaceful that nobody disturbed him. But he died the same night. He had died peacefully during his sleep. As he was dying, or as long as his senses were working, he was in his head listening to the roll call that was being called by him when he was working in the school.